I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video. This is another request for JS. Thank you so much for that. If anyone's ever interested in requesting pretty much any type of video, you can either do so directly via my PayPal or by joining my Patreon. The links are down below in the info box. If not, that's fine, but if so, thank you. But the review for today is a film called Freeway. And for a second, I thought he meant the Kiefer Sutherland film. But actually this is another one that was made in the 80s, in particular 1988. Now it's directed by a guy that Francis D'Elia, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Mainly has directed music videos. He actually directed, I believe, the song, "We Built This City on Rock and Roll." He directed the music video for that, and he directed the music video for the Weird Al Yankovic's song, "I Lost on Jeopardy, Baby." I guess he's directed some stuff afterward, but nothing I'm the most familiar with. I think some episodes of the Friday the 13th TV series. But this one, I thought this was decent. It was a decent film. Above average. Because number one, you have Billy Drago, great character actor, may he rest in peace, and he plays the villain here as a spree killer, a person that will find someone on the road driving their car, he's driving his car, will come across and chase them down or bump their car and get alongside with them and get his 6-shooter and shoot him in the face. And each time he does it, he calls into this radio show to this particular DJ played by Richard Belzer. And I've seen Richard Belzer in other stuff. I mean, he was on, of course, Law and Order for many years. There's the infamous point when he did a talk show and he had Hulk Hogan and Mr. T on there, and Hulk Hogan did like a chokehold and he fell to the floor and Richard Belzer hit his head, and apparently he won a lawsuit out of that. You can find it on YouTube and such. But Billy Drago's character, not only is he a spree killer, but he will quote the Bible. So he's quoting these Bible why am I not talking? Bible passages to this disc jockey, Richard Belzer. And part of me wishes, what the fuck is it with me not talking today? God damn. I'm not even gonna fucking redo it. Fuck it. We do it live. Fuck it. I do wish Richard Belzer was the lead in this film. I do wish that, because I liked him as an actor, personality, comedian. He's very dry in his humor. And I think that would have been interesting to see him in the lead, playing a character with levity and humor, but he does seem like he could do serious perfectly fine based on the bits I've seen on Law and Order and other stuff. That would have been interesting. Like, what would a disc jockey, maybe using his wits, using his humor, using his anything, fly by the seat of his pants mentality to deal with this spree killer. With that said, our lead characters are not that bad. The lead girl, who is a nurse whose husband was killed by this guy, so she wants revenge, and she's on the hunt trying to get info on this guy. The actress did a fairly decent job with her performance. She teams up with this ex-cop, which is James Russo. Now, James Russo, you may remember him the most from the very first Beverly Hills Cop. You remember the guy, Mighty Tandino. He played Eddie Murphy's buddy who gets shot in the hallway. Thus, Eddie goes to Beverly Hills. That's James Russo. And it was interesting to see him. He's actually been in other films. He was in, I believe, State of Grace, which I reviewed recently. Yeah, he was in that. He's been in a couple other stuff. But again, he's most famous for Beverly Hills Cop. He's a good actor, but with his character, they don't really do a lot with the character, as in, he barely gets an introduction, and there's not really a build-up to the character. It's pretty much, we see him shooting his gun. The next thing we know, or the next time we see him, he's talking with this girl, the lead girl, because she got in a car accident. And then the next time those two meet, they have sex. After literally a 30-second conversation, when he's trying to help her out when she had this fuck up with her car. I mean, that's what I mean. There's some stuff about this I'm like, huh? Like, you just talk for 30 seconds, and then, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 minutes later, when he comes up again, because she accidentally left her wallet with him, he gets there, and then they immediately have sex. Okay. So I think there's some nice, there could have been some nice build-up you could have put in there, or some development of the character. It just, so that's why James Russo's, his acting isn't bad at all. It's hard for me to really get much out of the character, because I thought that was a really weak way to get him into the movie. And he doesn't really feel prominent in the film until the third act. It either goes from her investigating, finding out that Billy Drago's character was an ex-priest, which is an interesting idea, that an ex-priest would call in biblical passages as he's doing his spree killing on the road. That's an interesting idea. Her investigation, I don't know why at one point she puts herself on TV, because she doesn't really find anything out by doing that, from what I remember. Could be wrong. All she did was paint a target on herself, because her name is given out, and thus Billy Drago knows who the hell she is. So I do think there's some wonky stuff with the script that could have been improved. Again, with James Russo's character, barely an introduction. Oh, we talk for 30 seconds. That's 15, 20 minutes later in the movie. Now we're having sex, and that's the second time we met. Again, could have been more done with the script. The little sequences of the chases, when Billy Drago's chasing his victims, you get decent car stuff. It's not really much for car chases. Usually it's him pulling up and shooting someone, and sometimes that's done stylish with up close shots of the gun, up close shots of the glass breaking, sometimes in slow motion. Again, not bad. But you did a couple little chases, or the killer chasing her. And at one point, they're both in cars. He's chasing her. She gets to James Russo. So then James Russo gets in their car and chases Billy Drago a bit. There's one point where Billy Drago in the third act shoots a fucking bazooka and doesn't blow up the car, just blows up the trunk of the car. Which, that was new. Almost refreshingly new, because usually, okay, the whole car's gonna blow up. Oh no, just the trunk blows up. Okay. That's a little bit different. I mean, this is not a bad movie. It's well shot. It was for free on YouTube. It does have that nice 80s look. It doesn't look cheap. It does look like a film that would have been in theaters. It's not poorly photographed. I don't think it's poorly directed, not in the slightest. Like I said, at times there's a little bit of style thrown in there, and particularly the spree killings. Billy Drago, always nice to see him. I mean, he was in The Untouchables. He was the bad guy in Delta Force 2, which I reviewed on here. He was on an episode of The X-Files. Trying to think what people would remember him the most. He's just a good character actor. If you look him up, I guarantee you've seen him and stuff. But he did a great job. He was a perfect fit because he had the voice and the presence and the attitude that made this character. He was believable as a psycho. I'm sure he was a nice guy, but very rarely did he play a good guy. I think he did it in the Chuck Norris film, The Hero and the Terror. That's one of the few times I remember him being a decent guy. Also, Tremors 4. I forgot he was in Tremors 4. He was on the... That's the one that took place in the West. He was a good guy in that. But it ends fine. You know, showdown between the girl and Billy Drago. Like I said, I'm watching it. It's a short enough film. I kept saying it's a good looking film. The performances are fine. I don't mind the lead girl. She was not irritating. She was not annoying. She wasn't a know-it-all. She wasn't, oh, I perfect at everything. She did a nice job. Again, the issues, the little bits of action are alright, but I wish you would have had, for example, Robert Harmon. For those who don't know, this is the guy that before, in '86, directed The Hitcher. And then many years later did a film called Highwaymen, which I liked. I don't know if I reviewed it, or I know I reviewed it. I don't know if the review's still up. But I know I reviewed The Hitcher. But Highwaymen, the way Robert Harmon films those sequences dealing with the car. If a highwayman deals with a serial killer that kills with his car, only this one, Billy Drago does it with a gun, but I just wish those action scenes had a bit more to them. A bit more fleshed out. And speaking of which, I wish James Russo's character was more fleshed out. Because he's one of the stars of the film, but it almost felt like he was barely in it. Because there's just not much of a build-up to his character. Again, you get the brief bit where he's shooting in his home, whatever the fuck it was, then meets the girl, then next time we see him, knocks on the girl's door, they immediately have sex. You get the idea, just another cop tells our lead girl, oh yeah, well his wife and kid died, and he went after them and got him, and that's why now he's an ex-cop now, and I just wish there was more build-up. Or again, I think it would have been really intriguing if Richard Belzer which I liked his sense of humor in this, and I do kind of wish that he was the lead, and maybe to take a page of The Ambulance, which came out a few years after this, where Eric Roberts he wasn't a DJ, but he was a comic book artist, and he had that fun, quirky humor, and he had a character that had a sense of humor, but he was fun, but he was serious, but he was funny. And those action scenes, those chases with the ambulance, whether Eric Roberts is tied down and he gets out of the ambulance and he's sliding down while tied to the stretcher, or in the third act when the ambulance is chasing our characters. And that's why this is not a bad film at all. I keep mentioning it's an above average film, but I can see why it's not that well known. I would say this: if you watch the trailer, you could do much worse. I think one IMDb user said it best: this seems like a movie that it was late night at cable and you flipped it, keeps your attention long enough that you can have an alright, decent time. You know, it's a time waster. And then it's not something I would ever pick up if it was Blu-ray or anything. I know it's on Blu-ray. I'm like, okay, it's not bad, but there's other films I wish got a Blu-ray. Nightlife, Blue Monkey, a good one at least, a good Blu-ray. Murder by Phone, The Hitcher in the US. A lot of movie Blu-rays in the US. But again, not an awful film. I know it's not a big recommendation, but you know, I watch, I go, I'm glad I saw it once. Rest in peace, Billy Drago. Didn't the act? Oh, Clint Howard. He makes an appearance as a sleazy mechanic. He's in a couple scenes. I like Richard Belzer. I like Billy Drago. James Russo is alright, but again, needed more screen time, more build up his character. The lead girl was nice. I kind of like the aspect that her husband was killed and she has a vendetta. And the score, I thought the score was rather solid, especially in the opening credits. Yeah, the score was definitely above average for this kind of film, so that's definitely a strong point. So it's a decent film. It's a decent film. It's worth a watch. And again, you can find it for free on YouTube, and yeah. Don't think it's a film I would rewatch again, but saw it once and didn't make me mad at all about it. Thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.